The KXAN News Podcast is sponsored by Shelf Genie.
Taking down the school shooter, powerful new body camera video from inside the Nashville school of the police response, and new information about the killer.
And it's another unsavory video from a local school, what one district is saying about spoiled milk served to students.
And a windy day out there today, and soon light rain showers move in. Your first warning forecast coming up.
And a very good evening to you. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jennifer Sanders.
And I'm Daniel Marin. Authorities in Nashville released body camera video today showing officers entering the school, searching room to room, finding and taking down the shooter. And
it's really a sharp contrast to what happened last year in Uvalde. Wendy Woolfolk brings us the powerful video. We do have a warning, though. It might be disturbing to watch.
Let's go.
First responders run toward the danger at Covenant School.
I think you saw what they were dealing with, which was a prepared shooter with lots of ammunition who was clearly shooting at them as they were coming in.
Textbook police work. Officers scanning room by room, following the sounds of gunfire. Go. Finally confronting 28-year-old Audrey Hale, a former Covenant student, ultimately killing Hale.
Suspect down, suspect down.
According to investigators, the shooter was under a doctor's care for, quote, an emotional disorder, but was still able to buy 7 firearms from 5 different stores in the area legally.
We also don't have a motive at this time. We feel that the students that were targeted were randomly targeted.
6 innocent lives lost. Not random for family and friends who will never see them again. Wendy Woolfolk, NBC News, Nashville.
And words fail in the face of another brutal American tragedy. As Alice Barr reports, in the U.S. Capitol today, the Senate chaplain used his opening prayer to push lawmakers to act.
It is time for us to move beyond thoughts and prayers.
President Biden pressing Congress to renew an assault weapons ban.
The last time we passed the assault weapons ban, violent shootings went down. Mass shootings went down.
Lawmakers faced with the devastating numbers, 131 mass shootings in the United States already this year, 13 with death or injuries in a K-12 school.
This is uniquely American.
But new federal gun safety legislation seems nearly impossible with a Republican-controlled House. Leading GOP Congressman Steve Scalise, himself a victim of a mass shooting, says it's not about the guns.
Let's work to see if there's something that we can do to help secure schools.
The Republican representing the district where the Nashville shooting happened agrees.
The mental health crisis we have in this country, that needs to be the real conversation that we're having right now.
Dr. Emily Lieberman, who survived last year's July 4th parade shooting in Highland Park, Illinois, pushing back.
The only thing that separates the tragic, traumatized person who's filled with hate from going out and doing something so terrible is the access to the gun.
In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
And Texas has been spending money to harden its public schools for years. It increased spending after the 2018 Santa Fe high school shooting, and just this past summer it allocated $100 million after Uvalde. KXAN's Monica Madden examines what's different about this session's proposals.
The special committee formed after the Robb Elementary shooting gavelled in Monday, hours after another school shooting rocked Nashville and the nation.
In far too many instances, parents of school children have been lulled into a false sense of security that their school, since they had security plans and measures in place, were actually checking on these measures and preparing them for them.
House Bill 3 is one of the legislature's priority school safety bills. It would require armed officers on every Texas campus and new enhanced security standards. School districts would receive at least $15,000 per campus every year to fund infrastructure investments, purchase security cameras, hire officers, and more. For rural school districts especially, the funds would be welcome.
Average cost of just fencing alone is about $204,000.
But only scratch the surface.
Currently, my district has a school safety allotment of about $4,700.
There are a significant number of mandates that are placed on school districts that have a tremendous amount of cost.
Hiring officers to meet the bill's requirement is a big cost concern.
They have to have the ability so that every school district can actually afford an officer. And so without funding, they're not going to be able to do that.
Lawmakers say the bill is part of the solution to keep schools safe.
But it is an important, critical piece to make school security and safety better for all students across our state.
Monica Madden, KXAN News.
And the Legislative Budget Board estimates HB 3 would cost more than $290 million over the next 2 years. The governor, lieutenant governor, and speaker all list school safety as a top priority. HB 3 and more than a dozen other safety bills, though, were left pending in committee yesterday.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans.
Well, cold front moved through the area around sunrise this morning, and that has left us windy and cooler, as you'd expect today. 67 degrees with a shake in the camera and the flags and trees moving near the airport. This is our Southeast Austin Whittlesey Landscape Supply Cam, always on our website for you. Look at the wind gusts, still 25 to 30 miles per hour. Cool winds blowing in from the north and northeast. These are a little lower, though, than the 35 mile per hour gusts we've seen today. A wind advisory is in effect through 7 p.m. for these northeast winds, potentially up to 35 miles an hour. Now, the radar is clear and dry here in Austin, but let me pan you out to the hill country. Things are starting to change pretty quickly as the winds die down. Rain showers become the focus later on tonight. One little isolated shower near Johnson City, but a mass of light rain, even some moderate rain and thunderstorms about to cross I-10 and trying to get into Gillespie County. Coming up in your forecast, I'll show you the hour-by-hour rain forecast and some big swings in temperature with record heat possible next week.
All right, David, thank you. Just in right now, police in Elgin now say 2 people were shot and killed on South Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard last night, and they've named a suspect who they say is still on the loose. Elgin detectives say they are looking for 35-year-old Terrence Wayne Lewis. You see him there on your screen. They believe he shot and killed 43-year-old Crystal Fitzgerald and 45-year-old Reggie Smith. If you see him or you know where he's at, call 911.
A high-profile murder trial got underway in an Austin courtroom today. Army Sergeant Daniel Perry is accused of shooting and killing Garrett Foster during a 2020 Black Lives Matter protest while driving in downtown Austin. Now, we have some video from that day. There it is. The man who recorded it was on one of the first witnesses called today. Perry claims self-defense, saying Foster pointed a rifle at him while he sat inside his car. But the prosecution said today Perry presented 3 different versions of the moments before Foster's death. We'll explore that in a report Jayla Washington is putting together for you for KXAN News at 6.
The president of Mexico says migrants fearing deportation set mattresses on fire at an immigration detention center in northern Mexico, starting a fire that killed at least 40 people. Now, this is in Ciudad Juarez, which is across from El Paso, Texas. 29 more are seriously injured, and tensions between authorities and migrants have been running high in recent weeks, with shelters full of people waiting for opportunities to cross the U.S. or who have requested asylum there and are now waiting out that process.
A federal judge says former Vice President Mike Pence must comply with a subpoena to testify before a grand jury, looking into the alleged efforts of former President Trump to subvert the 2020 elections. Now, the judge gave Pence a partial victory, agreeing with his claims of immunity as it relates to his own legislative duties on January 6th. But the ruling says that immunity would not prevent Pence from testifying about conversations where there's alleged illegality on the part of the former president. A new effort to get drunk drivers off the road, the special consequences they could face if parents are killed in a crash.
And right now there are just 2 pediatric ICU beds available in Central Texas. The new hospital coming soon to help.
And the Central Texas children served this at lunchtime, what the school district says happened. The Texas House gave preliminary approval today to a bill that would eliminate the state sales tax from a number of feminine care and child care products. House Bill 300, filed by Austin Democratic State Rep Donna Howard, includes products like tampons, diapers, maternity clothes, and breast pump supplies. As our partners at the Texas Tribune report, the bill is expected to reach the Senate next week.
Mothers against drunk driving from around the state gathered at the Capitol today to ask lawmakers to do more. They want lawmakers to pass a bill that would require convicted drunk drivers to give child support payments if a parent of a minor is killed in a crash.
This would be able to better support the grandparents that are now in the unexpected position to raise that child. And we ultimately hope, too, that this would make people think twice, because drunk driving is a choice and is 100% preventable. These crashes never have to happen.
And Matt says Tennessee became the first state to pass it last year, and now 12 other states, including Texas, are considering adding the law.
Well, they're lost seconds that could save lives. Now, maybe you've seen another driver not moving over for an ambulance, or maybe you didn't notice one until it was right behind you. Well, ahead on NBC Nightly News, why it may not be your fault.
I'm Tom Costello. I am in an SUV driving in Colorado to make the point that cars these days are so well insulated. If you've got the radio on and maybe you've got the air on, there's a good chance you're not going to hear that fire truck that is right behind me. I don't hear him, and he's blasting a siren. On NBC Nightly News, what you should do if you've got a fire truck or emergency vehicle right on your tail, but you don't hear them until the last minute, and how this is creating new hazards for emergency responders. With cars that are so well insulated, their sirens are not breaking through the traffic noise.
And we reached out to several local agencies to see how they're responding to advanced noise reduction capabilities. The Travis County Sheriff's Office told us the newest vehicles in their fleet run with 2 sirens instead of just 1, which doubles the noise level. And deputies can switch between several sounds by the push of a button. And the new vehicles have a low tone siren that people in surrounding vehicles can actually feel.
Well, temperatures in the 60s as clouds thicken up out there tonight. Check out what our computer model does in a few hours from now. Not only temperatures cooling into the 50s, but light rain starts falling, including here in the city. An hour-by-hour look at some damp weather returning after this.
This KXAN News podcast is brought to you by Shelf Genie. I'm Rosie Newberry from KXAN Studio 512. Considering replacing your kitchen cabinets? Struggling to find or reach things? Go to shelfgenie.com/Austin. Shelf Genie designs custom pull-out shelves for your existing cabinets, adding convenience and value to the most used room in your home. Shelf Genie custom pull-out shelves, everything in reach.
With access to pediatric ICU hospital beds still low across the state, a new Dell Children's Hospital opening next month in Cedar Park will bring almost 40 more of those beds to the area.
And KXAN's Mercedes Hernandez has a sneak peek of what it looks like and talked to hospital leaders who say care for the littlest of patients is needed now more than ever.
The hallways and rooms of Dell Children's Medical Center North are empty now, but leaders say they will fill up soon.
Northern communities are expanding very widely, very quickly, and I would say that one of the biggest populations growing at this time is the children.
The hospital will bring 36 pediatric beds to the area. As the area around Austin grows, cutting down how far families drive to get care is important, says the hospital's chief administrative officer.
Just recently, my grandson ended up having to seek care, and in the middle of the night with a panicked family, I'm trying to get downtown. It is going to be so nice for this hospital to have been that much more close. They literally are a mile away.
State data showed that as of March 15th, the entire state only had 135 pediatric ICU beds available, and only 2 of those were in Austin. The hospital's chief medical officer says getting kids the care they need can sadly be a life or death matter.
So we will have immediate access to surgical services so that patients who have unfortunate incidents such as trauma can come here and get care.
Dell Children's North is set to open its doors April 27th in Cedar Park. Mercedes Hernandez, KXAN News.
And this isn't the only facility for young patients set to open soon in Central Texas. Texas Children's is building a hospital in Lake Creek Parkway, and that's set to open next year.
Well, this will be something useful on windy days like today. Georgetown is launching a power outage text reporting service for customers beginning April 10th. The city will automatically sign up residents using the phone number associated with their account, but you may want to check which number that is in case it is a landline.
First warning weather with Chief Meteorologist David Yeomans.
Well, cool and getting cloudier out there tonight as we look toward a chance of some light rain starting shortly out in the hill country. This is where it'll begin first. Some of these high clouds trying to squeeze some rain out of them. They'll be more successful in a few hours. 64 degrees cooler than yesterday in Llano County. Area-wide, most temperatures are about 10 degrees cooler than yesterday evening after the front moved through this morning. 71 in Giddings and LaGrange, but that's the warmest you'll see. We're in the mid-60s and upper 60s from 281 toward I-35. The pollen count is really doing a number on us after the dry, windy weather today. Oak is through the roof in the very high concentration, and several other things, most of these low, including ash and mulberry. The cold front that moved through this morning, it's way down near South Padre and moving across all the oil platforms in the Gulf this evening. You see some light rain, though, starting to move into the hill country very shortly. This is actually a byproduct of something that we can see better on the water vapor satellite. See this little spin right here? This is a small disturbance or a small storm that's heading our way, which will help generate some light rain here shortly. The clouds and radar forecast showing clouds continue to thicken up with some light rain starting here shortly. A few scattered showers, a little more likely by 8 p.m. Then overnight, an even higher now 40% chance of not, big thunderstorms, but just some nice little beneficial showers. These will be streaming through on and off through the overnight. Here we are at 3 a.m. Maybe a moderate downpour if you're lucky. And tomorrow looks kind of the same. Cloudy skies all day with a few passing showers most likely early. Late in the day, still a slight chance of rain, but mainly dry weather late tomorrow. On Thursday, though, as the winds spin back to the south and temperatures start to warm, this is a more humid, kind of drizzly weather pattern. Thursday morning, this could be some widespread mist and drizzle. And Thursday afternoon, again, not a lot of sun, but not a ton of rain. Just a few light passing showers here and there. The new rainfall projections are a little bit higher. I'm not quite this optimistic. I think if you do see measurable rain, it should be less than 1/10 of an inch. This is over the next 48 hours through Thursday evening. After that, we are monitoring a severe storm threat for parts of the country late this week. Remember, we gave you a first warning on a big storm exiting the Rockies on Friday. Quick update here is that our concern is even lower today. The latest severe storm threats show a big outbreak possible in the plains up toward the Great Lakes. But again, that does not include us at this time. We'll keep you posted. Tonight's forecast, north winds die down, cool at 51, higher chance of rain now at 40%. A few passing showers again tomorrow as winds eventually turn around to the southeast. Another cool day, though, at 69. After that, though, southeast winds really ramp up. 70s turn to 80s, almost 90 on Friday. That's close to a record high for the day. If you're joining us out at the ABC Kite Festival at Zilker Park on Saturday, we'll erase some of that humidity and bring temperatures down behind a weak front. Don't be scared of that 20% chance of rain. It looks late in the evening as of now, but here comes the heat. April begins this weekend, and by next week, we could be talking about record-tying heat Monday and Tuesday and the warmest temperatures of the year.
All right, David, thank you very much. Well, we don't want to ruin your dinner, but look at what students at a local school district were served with lunch. Just ahead, the district's response to reports of spoiled milk. Parents in Elgin ISD say they were shocked to see spoiled milk being served to their kids in school cafeterias. Parents in the district reached out to KXAN at KXAN.com, and they said that there had been multiple issues with spoiled milk. One video shows a student pouring slimy milk onto his plates in the cafeteria. The district says out of an abundance of caution, cartons with March dates were immediately isolated and replaced with cartons containing April dates. Highland Dairy, the district supplier, said it picked up all the affected milk. It says the product was made by a co-packaging partner and that partner found an issue with one of their half-pint carton filling machines.
The National Highway Transportation Safety Administration is investigating Tesla seatbelts. It says it has received 2 reports from owners of a 2022 and 2023 Model X SUV who say their seatbelts separated from their seat frames while they drove. Neither of those were involved in a crash. The agency is looking into reports that some steering wheels on other Tesla vehicles can suddenly disconnect. And Twitter CEO Elon Musk told employees in an email Friday that the company is now valued at $20 billion. And that's less than half of the $44 billion he had to pay to purchase the company last year. Musk cut half of Twitter's workforce last year.
Well, no reruns tonight on KXAN at 7. It's Night Court, followed by American Auto at 7:30. The Voice is all new at 8. And then at 9 o'clock, John Stamos and Taraji P. Henson are on Jimmy Fallon's That's My Jam, before we're back with KXAN News at 10.
Thanks for listening to KXAN News Nightly. You can also listen to KXAN News Today every morning for more in-depth coverage of what matters most to you.